Hello, this is John from TabletClass Math, and in this video we're going to solve a trigonometric equation. And this particular problem is taken directly from my complete pre-calculus course. Now, if you're taking pre-calculus or another advanced math course that has trigonometry, you got to know how to solve trigonometric equations. It really is an essential skill for your success in class and on your exams. Now, if you're looking for help in your math class, you got to check out my entire pre-calculus curriculum. It has hundreds of fully worked examples and practice problems and complete full lessons. And if you want to check it out, just follow the link in the description below. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the solution to this problem. All right, so here's our first one. We got sine x minus 1 equals cosine x. So we have two different trigonometric functions. We have sine and cosine. So how do we handle that? Well, generally speaking, the best way to handle this is to square both sides. Okay, that's going to be your main approach to deal with this. So I can square both sides. Okay, I'm going to take my x minus 1 and I'm going to square it. And I'm going to take my cosine x and I'm going to square it. Now, why am I going to square it? Well, I know that I have this identity, sine x squared plus cosine x squared equals 1. So now, if I can get things in terms of not sine, but sine squared, and not cosine, but in terms of cosine squared, I can write relationships between cosine and sine. Okay, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. But here is a critical thing to keep in mind when you square both sides of any equation, and that is you have the possibility of introducing extraneous roots. So extraneous solutions or roots, if you will, meaning that when we solve our work, we have to check our solutions to the following equation into the original equation, because we can have extra or extraneous solutions. This is not an optional step. If you don't show this work, one, you're likely to get the problem, some of these problems incorrect. You might get lucky and answer the question right, but your teacher is definitely going to take points off. So this is not optional, but you got to keep in mind, a lot of students forget this. They just think, oh, I can square both sides and proceed. No, you have to, put it like your light bulb. It's got to go off and be, okay, boom, I'm squaring both sides. Got to check for extraneous solutions, because no one's going to tell you that you have to do that unless you know what you're doing, right? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so sine x minus 1 squared, that's sine x minus 1 times sine x minus 1. And when you do the algebra, you'll get this. We discussed how to approach that, just like regular binomials in algebra, no different. Okay, so this is sine x minus 1 squared, then cosine x squared is just cosine x squared. So that's pretty straightforward. All right, now let's go ahead and continue on with this. Now, the reason why we square both sides, okay, and we talked about this identity here, is because now I can move this sine over here, and I could substitute this cosine for 1 minus sine x squared. This is the key that will unlock the solution to this equation. Okay, so we're going to replace this cosine squared x with 1 minus sine squared x. That's the key. Okay, so we still have our left-hand side, and now we have our right-hand side. So now we can proceed because we have everything in terms of sine. So that's what you really want to do. And we'll move everything over to the left. We'll move that 1 over. You can see the 1's go away. And then this minus sine x becomes a positive sine x. That gives us 2 sine x squared minus 2 sine x. So hopefully you see that. Remember, this is quadratic. All right, this is a squared and this is a power of 1. So you want to be thinking in terms of quadratic equations. And if you remember, with any quadratic equation, you want to set it equal to 0. Okay. All right, so hopefully at this point you understand what's going on. And now what are we going to do? Well, you can see here we can factor out. We have 2 sine as a common factor amongst these terms, so I can factor out a 2 sine x, and I'm left with sine x minus 1. Okay, you could always just check that. You can distribute back in, and you would end up getting what's back there. But the beauty of doing this, I can now use the zero product property. In other words, this times this is equal to 0. So I'm going to set both of these, this equal to 0 and this equal to 0, both of these factors equal to 0, and solve. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay. So I'm going to take sine x, and I'm going to set that equal to 0, and then I'll take my sine x minus 1, I'll set that equal to 0, and let's solve the respective equations. Now, here sine of x equals 0, just think of the sine graph, if you will. So the sine graph, okay, it's like this, right? It starts here, goes up, and it comes down and maxes out at 1, and then it bottoms out here at -1. So this is 0. So sine of 0 is going to be 0, okay, and then it will come back down to 0 at pi, halfway through the cycle or the period, okay. Now, what I want to encourage you to do, okay, so this is the solutions to this equation between the interval between 0 and 2 pi. X is 0 and x is pi. But I want you to be thinking about the graph. You need to keep the graph of sine and cosine in mind. It's really a useful tool. But I want you to use the table of values of those convenient angles that I've been giving you over and over again. Reference that chart, okay, have that thing right next to you and just look down there. You could look at sine x, use the table and find 0, and then find the respective angles for that. And you got to keep looking, because that value might show up more than once. Okay, so you have to look through the entire table, and I think I gave you 2 pages worth of information on that. So anyways, this is how we get to this solution. So now let's go ahead and talk about sine x minus 1 equals 0. Well, now I can just move that 1 over to the right hand side. So I got sine x is equal to 1, and I can go ahead and just look at my table of values, and I get x is equal to pi over 2. Okay, so pretty straightforward at this point. And again, pi over 2 right here, this is where pi over 2 is at anyways on the graph. So common values, they come up over and over again, but make the connection between the graphs and the table. Okay, again, if you went and built a reference triangle and did all that work, well, it's the problem with that at this point is, one, you're kind of already assumed to know how to do that, and you need to know how to do that. But if you're taking a test and you only got a certain amount of time, you're not going to, you're going to be taking too much time to build those reference triangles and come up again with these common values over and over again. So again, most teachers are going to probably allow you to have, every teacher is different, but some teachers will let you have that table of values, but definitely use it in your practice exercises. Okay, but we're not done yet, right? So where are we at? Well, we got these solutions, okay? But what are these solutions? Well, these are possible solutions, because one or more or all of these can be extraneous solutions. We don't know until we check all these solutions into the original equation. Okay, so remember our original equation was sine x minus 1 equals cosine x. So we're going to have to plug in 0, pi, and pi over 2 into this x and see if this left-hand side will equal this right-hand side. So we'll just take it one at a time, and we'll start with x is equal to 0. Okay, so when I plug in 0 for x, I get sine of 0 minus 1 equals cosine of 0. Okay, because I got to plug in 0 in both where I see x's. I got to plug in that solution, right? And look what happened. I get -1 is equal to 1. So -1 is not equal to 1. So therefore, x equals 0 is extraneous. That's not part of the final solution set, so we got to kind of throw it away. Okay? So this is why you have to check. It's a mandatory step. Okay, so now let's check x is equal to pi. We'll plug those in for where x is at for sine and cosine, and when we simplify this, we get -1 is equal to -1, and we like that because that's a true statement. So we'll keep this as a solution. Then we'll check x equals pi over 2. Plug that in first. Our x is here, okay, into our equation, and we get 0 equals 0. we like that as well. That's true. So we'll keep this as a solution. So here is our final answers. Okay, x equals pi over 2 and x is pi. Okay, so pi and pi over 2 between that interval between 0 and 2 pi. These are the solutions. Okay. All right, so let's move on to our next problem. So I hope this video helped you out, and remember, mastering mathematics at the pre-calculus level isn't about memorizing a few problems. It's about building a solid understanding of each topic through a lot of guided practice. So again, if you want to check out my pre-calculus course, I cover everything with complete lessons, detailed explanations, quizzes, hundreds of additional practice problems, and you can check all of this out by following the link in the description below. All right, so with all that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your math adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.